Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to our beautiful Madam Nurhiliati binti Aliyah and my fellow friends. Okay. My name is Munira binti Abdul Latif, I18102578. Okay, my friend and I will present about managing groups and teams. Okay, my friend Muhammad Yusuf bin Ahmad Khalil, Nur Shifa binti Jamaluddin, Nur Shifa binti Kamaruddin, Nurul Izzah binti Abdullah, Syazal Nur Azmina binti Muhammad Faizal, and lastly Nur Ashikin binti Mat Yusuf. Okay, let's go.
A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Yusuf bin Ahmad Khalil. Number matric I181026669. Today I will be presenting to you definition, group, and teamwork. What is a group? Group is two or more individuals are independent in their accomplishment and may or not work in the same department. So in a group we have two or more individuals. In a group mean one individual may be work in a department, other individual may be work in other department. So in a group they are individual that come from different departments. The group performance is a result of people coming to share information, view, and insight. A group, they come so they can share information, view, and insight. Group focus on individual performance and action. Teams. Teams more like a group is two or more individual but small number of people with complementary skill who committed to a common purpose. A team, we have a purpose to and a set of performance goals to approach. Team requires individual and mutual accountability, where group do not member of a group. What are the differences between group work and team work? Firstly, group are more to individual accountability. Meanwhile, in work team, individual and mutual are accountability. Second, in group comes together to share information and perspective. Meanwhile, in work team frequently comes together for discussion making, problem solving, and planning. Third, for on work group focus on individual goal. Different in teamwork focus on team goal. 4. Produces work group produces individual goal. Meanwhile, in work team, produces creative work of product. 5. Defines individual roles, responsibility, and tasks. In work team, defines individual work responsibility to task to help the team do it work, often share and rotate them. So, in the work group, tasks are in the individual, while in the work team, we can share the task among us. 6. Concern with the one's own outcome. In work team, concern with everyone outcome and challenge faced by the team. So, in the work group, the outcome comes from the individual. In work team, outcome come from the team itself, not from the individual. 7. The manager shapes the purpose, goals, and approach to work, while in the work team, the team leader, together with the team member, shape the purpose, goals, and approach to work. The difference, the major difference in work group and work team. In work group, are more focused on the individual, not on the group. While in the work team, it focus in work in team, in the whole team, that work team focus. That's all for that's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to our beautiful madam and my fellow friends. Okay, now my turn to present subtopic reason for joining groups. Okay, before that, my name is Munirah binti Abdul Latif. I181025788. Okay, I will use my own word based on what I understand. People joining group for many reasons, multitude of reasons. Okay, the major reason is group. That group membership often results in some form of need satisfaction on the part of the individual. Okay, membership into a group can fulfill numerous needs, some of which the group member may not even realize they are benefiting from. Organization typical from groups to accomplish work-related tasks. Okay. Some groups are motivated by working in a group, and others are motivated by creating interpersonal relationships with others members of the group. Okay, like great organization behavior scholar K.S. Waterfall said, there is no single reason why individual joins group. Okay. Since most people belong to many groups, it is obvious that different groups offer different attraction benefit to their member. Okay. However, a member of a group, an individual may unintentional reap the numerous benefit independent of the original group construct. By focusing on individual goals instead of the group achievement. Okay, the most popular reason for joining group are related by our need. What our need, like for security, status, self-esteem, affiliation, power and control, also goal achievement. Okay, I will explain what is security, what is status and so on. Okay, you can refer page 202 in table 10.2. Okay, we go to table 10.2. Okay, benefit of joining groups. Okay, first, for security. Okay, what I understand from the text. Okay, security, the result, the insecurity of standing alone. Okay, feel stronger, fewer self-doubt, and more resistant to threats. Okay, for status, for the status inclusions in a group viewed by outsider as important, provide recognition and status. Okay, for self-esteem, okay, provide feeling of self-worth to group members in addition to conveying status to outsider. Okay, while affiliation ni fulfill social need, enjoys regular interaction, can be primary source for fulfilling need for affiliations. Okay, for power and control. Okay, what we can understand is what cannot be achieved individual often become possible. Power in number. Okay, while and lastly, goal achievement. Goal achievement is some tasks require more than one person. Okay, need to pool talent, knowledge, or power to complete the job. Okay, in such instance, management may rely on the use of a formal group. So, in conclusion, by joining group, indirectly they will get many benefit from joining group lah. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Syifa binti Jamaluddin. My number matric is I1810268, and today I want to present about types of groups and teams. In this section, we will discuss type of group, formal and informal group, and type of team, managerial and self-managing team. Look at the first is formal and informal group. For the formal group is formed by a manager to help the organization accomplish its goals. And then formal groups typically were such labeled as work group, team, command or task force. And then fulfill two basic function. Is it organizational and individual? Maksudnya kumpulan formal ni dicipta oleh seorang pengurus membentuk organisasi untuk mencapai matlamatnya. Dan selalunya kumpulan ni disebut seperti kumpulan kerja, pasukan, jawatan kuasa ataupun pasukan petugas. Dan untuk menjadi kumpulan formal ni mestilah ada dua perkara ni, iaitu organisasi dan juga individu. Kemudian kita tengok pula kepada informal groups. First, an informal group exists when the members overriding purpose of getting together in friendship or common interest. And then formal and informal group often overlap. Example, a team of corporate auditor heading for the tennis court after work. Even though some of the employer are not friends with their co-workers, And then the desirability of overlapping formal and informal groups is problematic because some managers believe that personal friendship on the job foster productivity teamworks, but while other view workplace bull season as a serious threat to productivity. It mean kumpulan tidak rasmi ni dia terjadi apabila sekumpulan tu berkumpul dengan tujuan mereka tu adalah sahabat ataupun mereka ada kepentingan masing-masing, seperti ada minat yang sama ke, macam tu. And then kumpulan formal dan tidak formal ni akan berlaku pertindihan. Contoh yang dia bagi dekat sini, contoh dia kumpulan corporate auditor ni, mereka adalah kumpulan rasmi, tapi lepas waktu kerja mereka pergi berkumpul untuk bermain tenis. So berlaku kat situ kumpulan tidak rasmi pula. So akan berlaku pertindihan di situ. And then selalunya pertindihan ni akan menyebabkan masalah sebab sesetengah pengurus ni dia pandang hubungan persahabatan dekat tempat kerja ni boleh membentuk semangat kerja berpasukan yang produktif. Tetapi ada setengah pengurus ni yang dia pandang perkara tu adalah bull season. Bull season tu orang cakap macam borak kosong dekat tempat kerja dan akan memberikan kesan negatif dekat productivity. Next, comparison of formal and informal groups. For the formal group, it is designed by top management to achieve organization goals. Second, it concentrates more on the performance of job. Third, people are placed in hierarchy and their status determined accordingly. And lastly, the coordination of member are controlled through process and procedure. For the informal group, first, this group association is not specified in the blueprint of the formal organization. Second, it is natural outcome at the workplace, which is not designed and planned. And lastly, the organization is coordinated by group norm, not by the norm of the formal organization. Maksudnya perbezaan antara kumpulan formal dan juga tidak formal ni, di mana kumpulan formal ni dia dirancang oleh seorang pengurus untuk mencapai matlamat organisasi. Kemudian mereka lebih fokus kepada prestasi pekerjaan dan juga setiap ahli tu diletakkan dalam hierarki. Kemudian ada jawatan masing-masing dan penyelarasan mereka ni dikawal melalui proses dan juga prosedur. Berbeza dengan kumpulan tidak formal di mana kumpulan tidak formal ni tidak dinyatakan di dalam rangka seperti mana kumpulan formal tadi. Kemudian dia wujud secara semula jadi di tempat kerja sama ada dirancang ataupun tidak. Kemudian penyelarasan mereka ni adalah berdasarkan kebiasaan ahli itu sendiri, bukan seperti kebiasaan organisasi seperti mana kumpulan formal tadi. Next, division of formal and informal group. For the formal group, we have two. This is a common group and task group. Description for the common group: a group composed of individuals who report directly to a given manager. Then this group often consists of a supervisor and the subordinate. Example, the coordinator of an academic department and the faculty members of that department. For the task group, a group of people working together to complete a job task. Members are brought together to accomplish specific goal within a specific time frame. Example, the development of a new product, standing command and so on. Maksudnya, kumpulan formal ni dibahagikan pula kepada dua bahagian, iaitu kumpulan arahan dan juga kumpulan tugas. Kumpulan arahan ni terdiri daripada seorang penyelia dan juga orang bawahan, di mana orang bawahan ni dia boleh melaporkan terus kepada penyelia dia. Sebagai contohnya, penyelaras jabatan akademik sebagai penyelia dan orang bawahannya adalah ahli fakulti jabatan tersebut. Okey, untuk kumpulan tugas ni pula, sekumpulan yang bekerja sama untuk menyelesaikan sesuatu tugasan, di mana ahli ni disatukan untuk mencapai sesuatu tujuan dan dalam jangka masa yang tertentu. Sebagai contohnya, mereka diberikan tugas untuk mengembangkan produk baru mereka ataupun memang mempunyai jawatan kuasa yang tetap di dalam organisasi tersebut. Then informal group, we have two. It is a interest group and friendship group. Description for interest group: people working together to attain a specific objective which each member is concerned with. The goals and objective of group interest may not be related to organizational goals and objective. The goals are normally specific to each group interest. Example, students who come together to form a study group for a specific subject. For the friendship group, a group of people brought together because they share one or more common characteristics. Friendship groups are formed by members who enjoy similar social activity, political belief, religious value, and other common bonds. Example, a group of employees forming an exercise group. Maksudnya, kumpulan tidak formal juga dibahagikan kepada dua, iaitu kumpulan minat dan juga kumpulan persahabatan. Untuk kumpulan minat ni, mereka berkumpul atas dasar mempunyai minat yang sama. Tujuan dan objektif kumpulan ni juga tak sama dengan tujuan dan objektif organisasi. Tujuan dan objektif mereka adalah disebabkan minat mereka yang sama. Kemudian kumpulan persahabatan pula. Mereka ni berkumpul disebabkan mempunyai satu nilai atau lebih ciri yang sama. Maybe mempunyai persamaan dalam social activity, kepercayaan politik, nilai keagamaan dan lain-lain lagi. Contoh yang saya bagi dalam slide, sekumpulan pekerja yang berkumpul untuk melakukan aktiviti senaman. Second, we will discuss about managerial and self-managing teams. Teams can be vertical functional, horizontal cross-functional, or self-managed, self-direct, and can be used to create new product, complete specific project, ensure quality, or replace operating department. Every employee is part of team and work in close coordination with other team members to perform at his or her level best and in turn benefit the organization. Team members should complement each other. Six different types of team in detail. First, functional teams perform specific organizational function and include members from several vertical level of the hierarchy. Example, human resources. Okay, maksudnya kat sini, managerial and self-managing teams ni, dia boleh jadi functional, ataupun cross-functional, ataupun self-direct. Kemudian, teams ni digunakan untuk membuat produk baru, ataupun menyelesaikan sesuatu projek, ataupun memastikan kualiti, ataupun mengganti jabatan operasi. Dan setiap pekerja ni adalah pasukan yang bertanggungjawab untuk menunjukkan prestasi dan memberi prestasi terbaik dan memberi manfaat kepada organisasi. Dan setiap ahli pasukan ni mestilah sentiasa saling melengkapi, iaitu saling tolong-menolong, saling hormat-menghormati dan lain-lain lagi. Okey, mari kita lihat pula perbezaan jenis pasukan yang ada sebanyak 6. Dan saya akan terangkan satu-satu. Yang pertama adalah functional teams. Functional teams ni adalah pasukan yang melaksanakan fungsi organisasi mengikut tahap hierarki yang telah ditetapkan. Contohnya dalam tahap hierarki tu ada human resources, dan bahagian sumber manusia ni lah akan melakukan segala tugas yang telah ditetapkan kepada mereka. Second, cross-functional teams comprise of experts with various specialties or functions working together on various organizational tasks. The team members are from departments such as research and development, design, engineering, marketing, and distribution, often empowered to make decisions without the approval of the management. Example, executive in company ABC conclude that the company need to improve its relationship with customer and better satisfy customer need. Maksud cross-functional team ni adalah pasukan pelbagai tugas yang terdiri daripada pelbagai pakar yang bekerjasama dalam pelbagai tugas organisasi, dan mereka ni terdiri daripada jabatan penyelidikan dan pengembangan, reka bentuk, kejuruteraan, pemasaran dan juga pengedaran, dan mereka diberikan kuasa untuk membuat keputusan tanpa persetujuan pihak pengurusan. Contohnya, para eksekutif di syarikat ABC membuat kesimpulan bahawa mereka perlu meningkatkan hubungan dengan pelanggan dan meningkatkan keperluan pelanggan. Third is self-directed team or self-managed team. Operate without manager and are responsible for complete work process or segment that deliver product or service to external and or internal customer. With shared team responsibility as work outcome, the team members often have broader job assignments and cross-trained to master other jobs. Self-directed work teams are designed to give employees a feeling of ownership of a whole job. Self-directed work teams consist of individuals who work together for a common purpose but without supervision of any leader. No leader is appointed and the team member have to take responsibility of their own work progress. Okay, maksud self-directed team ni adalah pasukan yang dikendalikan sendiri tanpa seorang pengurus. Segala aktiviti dalam pasukan ni adalah dikendalikan sendiri dan hasil perkongsian bekerjasama antara ahli pasukan membuatkan mereka merasai bidang pekerjaan yang lebih meluas, dan kita juga mempunyai pasukan kerja yang diarahkan sendiri, dan pasukan ini dicipta untuk memberi pekerja merasai pemilikan keseluruhan pekerjaan. Okay. Kemudian pasukan ini terdiri daripada individu yang bekerjasama untuk tujuan bersama tapi tanpa seorang pengurus. Okay. Tiada seorang pengurus pun yang dilantik dalam pasukan ni, tetapi setiap ahli pasukan ni mestilah bertanggungjawab atas peningkatan kerja mereka. Fourth is filter team, are composed of members that are dispersed in different areas but are still able to work together using technology to assist them in accomplishing their communication objective. Example, Sean at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia can form a filter team with Lini at Bangkok, Thailand and Sarah at Beijing, China. Individuals who are supporting a community on social networking sites such as Facebook can also form a filter team if they are from various different locations but support a common community. Okay, filter team ni maksudnya pasukan maya yang terdiri daripada anggota yang berada di pelbagai kawasan tetapi masih boleh menubuhkan pasukan menggunakan teknologi komunikasi yang ada. Contohnya, Sean yang berada di Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia masih boleh menubuhkan pasukan maya dengan Lini yang berada di Bangkok, Thailand dan juga Sarah yang berada di Beijing, China. Kemudian, individu yang menyokong komuniti di laman sosial seperti Facebook juga boleh menubuhkan pasukan maya sekiranya mereka berada di lokasi yang berbeza tetapi masih menyokong komuniti yang sama. Okay. Fifth is task force, formed for the special purpose of working on specific project or finding a solution to highly critical problem. The task force explore all the possible reasons which have led to the problem and tries to resolve the issues within a given deadline. Example, the government generally appoints special teams to investigate critical issues such as kidnapping, bomb blast and so on. Task force ni maksudnya pasukan petugas yang dibentuk khas untuk menyelesaikan sesuatu projek ataupun menyelesaikan masalah yang kritikal. Pasukan petugas ni dia akan meneroka kemungkinan sebab berlaku sesuatu masalah itu dan cuba menyelesaikan dalam jangka masa yang tertentu. Contohnya, pihak kerajaan telah melantik pasukan khas untuk menyiasat critical issues seperti penculikan. Lastly is problem solving team. Usually an assemblage formed to solve a particular problem or improve activity within their own department. Once the team has conduct research and arrived at a proposed solution, they will present their finding to the proper person or panel who may or may not implement the recommended course of action. Maksud problem solving team ni adalah pasukan penyelesaian masalah, biasanya kumpulan yang dibentuk untuk menyelesaikan masalah atau memperbaiki aktiviti dalam jabatan mereka sendiri. Setelah mereka membuat kajian dan jumpa jalan penyelesaiannya, mereka akan beritahu kepada pihak yang sepatutnya. Okay. Lastly, look at the benefit of teamwork. First, increase skill, iaitu boleh meningkatkan kita punya kemahiran. And second, share knowledge, boleh menambahkan pengetahuan. And lastly, enhance productivity, flexibility and commitment. Boleh meningkatkan productivity, flexibility dan juga komitmen.
Hai, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Shifa binti Kamaruddin. My matric number is I18102659. I would like to talk about the topic characteristic of group. This section discussion have 4 characteristics. It is size, norm, roles and cohesiveness. Firstly, about the size. To form a group, it must be having at least 2 members. Practically, the number of group member range 8 to 15 or 20 or other. The size of a group is small. Leader and other roles are share or rotate. It is mean apabila kumpulan tu kecil, maka peranan leader ataupun peranan yang lain akan dikongsi ataupun akan dirotate. The larger the group grows, there will be formation of subgroups and increase in the differentiation of role and the emergence of a leader. Maksud dekat sini, apabila kumpulan tu besar, maka mereka akan dibentuk dalam subgroup dan peranan mereka tu akan berbeza, tak akan dikongsi dan tak akan dirotate. The larger the group, the greater the pool of talent and experience available for solving problem or sharing the effort. Largest group are advantage when it requires the combining of individual effort as in brainstorming. They are less value when everyone must accomplish the task, which is the general situation in most discussion group. However, the use of the subgroup boleh overcome masalah yang terdapat dalam largest group discussion. Second, about the norms. It is mean corak, rules that define what the appropriate attitudes, feeling and behaviors are in a groups. Group norms prescribe the desirable and undesirable action in particular situation. That's mean peraturan yang menentukan sesuatu sikap, perasaan ataupun tingkah laku yang sesuai dalam satu kumpulan. For example, the expectation that group member finish their part of the work by the established due date. We can see that dia merupakan peraturan untuk menyiapkan kerja mengikut due date yang ditetapkan. Okay, third is role. Each person in a group has role or pattern of expected behavior associated with a certain position in the group. Task and maintenance role need to be performed if a work group is to accomplish anything. Task role enable the work group define, clarify and pursue a common purpose. Task role keep the group on track while maintenance role keep the group together as shown in book Organization Behavior page 207 till 209. Task role in a group means peranan tugas ataupun tingkah laku yang berkaitan secara langsung dengan menyumbang secara langsung kepada penyelesaian tugas ataupun mencapai matlamat kumpulan tersebut seperti macam opinion giver, elaborator, coordinator dan lain lagi. Okay, next, maintenance role in a group. That's mean peranan penyelenggaraan yang berfungsi untuk mewujudkan dan mengekalkan kohesi sosial dan memenuhi keperluan ahli kumpulan seperti macam harmonizer, lepas tu compromiser dan lain lagi. Okay, next, blocking role in a group. That's mean apabila keperluan seseorang tu diabaikan ataupun ditolak, maka keperluan tu akan mengakibatkan kekecewaan individu ataupun ahli kumpulan. Jadi mereka akan menyatakan dalam bentuk tingkah laku yang cenderung untuk menghalang ahli kumpulan yang berkesan yang lain lah, seperti macam blocker, aggressor, playboy, player and others. Okay, lastly about the cohesiveness. That's mean kesepaduan. A measure of the attraction of the group to its member, the sense of team spirit and the willingness of the members to coordinate their efforts. That's mean rasa semangat berpasukan dan kesediaan antara tim mereka tu dalam menyelaraskan urusan mereka bersama. Group cohesion is phenomenon which determines how well a group holds together. When group cohesion is strong, a group will remain strong and stable. That's mean apabila group tu kuat dengan semangat berpasukan, maka mereka akan kuat dan stabil. Kalau mereka lemah, maka mereka akan fall apart. For example, member in a high cohesive group will be keen to attend meetings, be cooperation and friendly with each other, and be more effective in achieving the aims they set for themselves. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nuriza binti Abdullah, metric number 1X1025X4. Today, I will present about stages of group development. 5 stages of group development by Bruce Tuckman. First, forming. Second, storming. Third, norming. For performing, and last, adjourning. Okay, let's see one by one. Firstly, forming stage. The forming stage occurs when the team is created. At this stage, team members tend to get to know one another and develop their first impression. However, during the forming stage, team members not only get to know each other but also familiarize themselves with their tasks and with other individuals who are interested in the project. And a team also set the main goal at this stage. At the end of forming stage, the members should know the project of the mission, the main basis of the mission, the resources at their disposal, a rules project schedule, each member project responsibility, and a basic set of the team rules. The second stage is storming. This stage is characterized by conflicts and disagreement among team members. Conflicts began to surface as the member may have a different view of goal or outcomes of the group, as well as how those goal and outcome should be accomplished. Although conflicts tend to make us feel uncomfortable, it's pivotal for the development of the group. As team members learn how to deal with disagreement and work to common goal. Next stage is norming. In this stage, team members reach a consensus on the goal of the team as well as how they intend to achieve this goal. Team members also begin to understand their own role in the group as well as the role of their fellow teammates. Next stage, performing. At this stage, team perform is all-time high as team member are fully committed to the task as well as one another. A majority of the work is accomplished at this stage as team members begin to feel close or connection to each other and actively attempt to help one another. Last stage is adjourning. At this stage, all team eventually disband, whether it be because their task or project is completed or member get assigned to other area. Team member will eventually part way and moving on the new task. As a conclusion, Bruce Tuckman theory focus on the way in which a team tackle a task from the initial formation of the team through to the completion of the project. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Shazana Azmina binti Muhammad Faizal. My metric number is I18102910. So today I will present about my part, that is managing the performance of an effective team. Firstly, dimension of team effectiveness. Okay, what is dimension of team effectiveness? The development of high performance teams take the combined effort of visionary leaders and motivated team members. There are 12 characteristics of high performance team. First is clear purpose. Clear purpose is individual with a sense of purpose have clearly defined their mission and goals since the beginning. Second is informality. Informality is casual interaction in an organization can form anywhere, anytime, and can thus be disbanded similarly without consulting the management. Moreover, they help to get work done and increase productivity. Third is participant. Participant is there are much discussion and everyone is encouraged to participate. Next is listening. Listening is the member use effective listening techniques such as questioning, paraphrasing, and summarizing to get out ideas. Number 5 is civilized agreement. There is disagreement, but the team is comfortable with this and show no sign of avoiding, smoothing over, or suppressing conflict. 6 is decision by consensus. Teams members learn how to achieve consensus to make decisions as a team. 7 is open communication. Team members feel free to express their feelings on the task as well as on the group's operation. 8 is clear roles. A major characteristic of effective teams is clear expectation about the roles played by each team member. Number 9 is share leadership. While the team member has a formal leader, leadership function shift from time to time depending on the circumstance, the needs of the group, and the skill of members. 10 is external relation. The teams spend time developing key outside relationship, mobilizing resource, and building credibility with important players in other parts of the organization. Number 11 is style diversity. Team members that are cognitively diverse have a unique advantage from working through problems, approaching change, processing information, and performing in complex situations. Number 12 is periodic self-assessment. The team stops to examine how well it is functioning and what may be interfering with its effectiveness. Next is task work process. What is task work process? Task work process are activities of team members that are directly related to the accomplishment of team tasks, such as interaction with tools or technology used to complete the task itself. There are 3 components of task work process. Firstly is creative behavior. Activity focus on creating new, existing, and useful idea to work towards the final solution. Next is the decision making. Decision result from interaction between team members. This interaction should include sharing information regarding the task at hand and working together to reach a general agreement in regards to a final solution. Number 3 is boundary spinning. Resource outside of the team itself, including communication with people with a higher standing in the organization. Communication to coordinate task-related issue with those in other functional group inside or outside the organization, and the steps team members take to obtain information for a task. Next is adverse group behavior. First is social loafing. There are 4 group behavior. First is social loafing. Social loafing is the tendency of individual to put forth less effort when they are part of a group. Second is diffusion of responsibility. Diffusion of responsibility occurs when people who need to make a decision wait for someone else to act instead. The more people involved, the more likely it is that each person will do nothing, believing someone else from the group will probably respond. Number 3 is escalation of commitment. Escalation of commitment happens when resource, time, money, energy continue to be invested in an investment because people do not want to appear inconsistent. Number 4 is groupthink. Groupthink is the practice of thinking or making decision as a group, resulting typically in unchallenged, poor quality decision making. Group members tries to minimize conflict and reach a consensus decision without critical evaluation of alternative ideas or viewpoints and by isolating themselves from outside influence. There are 8 symptoms of groupthink. First is illusion of invulnerability. Members of the group share an illusion of invulnerability that creates excessive optimism and encourage taking abnormal risks. Number 2 is collective rationalization. Victims of this behavior ignore and discount warnings and negative feedback that may cause the group to reconsider their previous assumptions. Number 3 is belief in inherent morality. Victims ignore the ethical or moral consequences of their decision and believe unquestionably in the morality of their in-group. Number 4 is stereotype views. Members of the group possess negative and stereotypical view of their enemy. Number 5 is direct pressure. Victims apply direct pressure to any individual who momentarily express concern or doubt about the group's shared views. Members are not able to express their own individual arguments against the group. Number 6 is self-censorship. Victims avoid deviating from what the group consensus is and keep quiet. Doubts and concerns about the group are not expressed, and victims of groupthink may undermine the importance of validity of their doubts. Number 7 is illusion of anonymity. Victims of groupthink share an illusion of anonymity that the majority view and judgment of the group are enemies. Number 8 is self-appointed, that is mind guard. Victims of groupthink may appoint themselves to protect the group and the group leader from information that may be problematic or contradictory to the group's view, decision and cohesiveness. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, hi. Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Siki Miti Mat Yaakob. I 1802653. Okay, this is my turn. I will present conclusion and case study. Okay, the conclusion. Teamwork is becoming increasingly important in contemporary organizations, and as long as teams are formed, managed, and implemented effectively, can provide a source of competitive advantage in terms of increased employee satisfaction, okay, creativity, and innovation. However, if teams are assigned to inappropriate tasks, are managed ineffectively, or not provided with adequate support, resources, and autonomy to carry out their tasks, then the effect of teamwork can be counterproductive. Okay, teams are formal groups assigned by management that have shared goals. There is a difference between teams and groups. Groups can exist without teams, but teams can exist without groups. Okay, therefore, the impact of group behavior and group dynamics will have a significant impact on the overall performance of the team. Okay, therefore, management must be awareness of the presence of groups that create their own norms and personal goals, which may deviate from the objective of the team. Therefore, teamwork can be a complex management area, yet if carried out effectively, the results can be very awaiting. Okay, this case study from this book, Organization Behavior, page 219. Okay, this case study talks about two teams, Team A and Team B, which is Team A was successful in developing a quality product and managed to collaborate in a highly professional manner, while the other team, Team B, unfortunately experienced several team problems which caused the team to become dysfunctional and had to be dismantled. Okay, this is case study questions. Question number 1. How would you describe the characteristic of Team A and Team B? Okay, the characteristics of Team A is Team A have sense of spirit and willingness of the members to coordinate their effort, because the members collaborate successfully to coordinate their effort. Okay, team A also contribute to the group's completion of a task, achievement of their goals and purpose. We can see from their weekly journal entries recording their tasks, action plans, progress, and outcomes constantly. Positive comments on every team members, as well as remarks on how they work as a team. Okay, besides that, Team A set a team goal to get the desired result and set a clear plan to achieve the objective. Each team member contributes to their responsibilities in performing their tasks. Okay, we can see that they focus on the project and how to execute the development stage to meet their lecturer expectations and show that corporations and team objectives were more important than any personal agenda. Okay, why the characteristics of team B? The lack of involvement. Without this involvement, a team will not be a team at all. Okay, a poor team member will isolate himself or herself from the group during team's building times. Okay, we can see that some members of the team were not contributing at all and eventually led the lecturer to split the team. Okay, next, team B, a lack of responsibility. A poor member refused to take responsibility for his or her role in any problems of failure of the team. Okay, instead they blame everyone and everything else. We can see from the issue, team B member were blaming each other, and from that point there was no reconciliation. Okay, team B also have poor characteristic. All members of team B agreed to split when even though they knew that the workload will be heavier. By doing so, they just could not find any way to resolve their conflicts anymore. Okay, for question number 2, explain how the dysfunctional group can transform itself into a high performing state. Okay, firstly, the team members of the dysfunctional group gets to know each other again and familiarize themselves with their new tasks and with other individuals interested in the project. Each member must relinquish the comfort of non-threatening topics and risk the possibility of conflict. Okay, after that there is competition and conflict within the team as members learn to bend and mold their feelings, ideas, attitudes, and beliefs to suit the team's organization. Team members must move from a testing and proving mentality to a problem solving mentality. Okay, listening is the most helpful action team members and the team leader can take to resolve these issues. Okay, as a leader needs to establish an organizational environment in which individual team members can reflect on and analyze their relationship with other team members. Okay, next, team members will begin to experience a sense Okay, we'll begin to experience a sense of group belonging and a feeling of relief. Okay, as a result of resolving interpersonal conflicts. Okay, they will feel good about being part of an effective group. Okay, lastly, the team needs to enjoy work independently and also support those who can come back together and work interdependently to solve problems. Okay, that's all from our groups. Thank you.